Ian,
Patrick.
we got some voicemails to listen to here.
All right, let's do this.
We'll do it. And you go to anchor.fm/A podcast, and you could try to keep it a little short, maybe like 20 seconds, not a minute. And we can get to some of your questions, and we'll do these when we feel like it, and have a good time. And please, I didn't close this out. Great. The first one here is from Chuno Chavez.
I thought we already did that one last week.
No.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hey, Pat and Ian. David here, calling from the San Gabriel Valley. My question to both of y'all is about your arcade experiences, specifically the strangest arcade experience you all can remember growing up.
Strangest arcade experiences you remember growing up. Sorry to cut you off there, Dave.
I don't know that I remember anything particularly strange, but I would say probably the best arcade experience I ever had. We'll just go with that. Why not? It's an answer of some sort. I'm sorry, I don't have any strange arcade experiences. Was the cyber station in the Galleria Mall used to always set a cabinet to free play every Tuesday.
Oh.
And one Tuesday it was House of the Dead 2, and there was no one else there, so I just double gunned my way through the whole game.
Ian.
It was fantastic.
You didn't use your grundle fingers?
My evil fingers?
Oh, we'll let you go because I don't have one. What are you going to say?
I can share mine real quick.
Go for it.
In the mid-'90s, when the N64 was only out in Japan, a local arcade called the Family Fun Center had an N64, and they were charging us, I believe it was $3 for 10 minutes of play. So, which was really strange, being able to do that, or even how legal that was just to have an N64 and playing Mario 64 in Japanese. But yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Weird.
Well, I guess if it was early you wanted to play, they imported it. They want to make that money back on that import. Okay, next here from Jonathan.
Gentlemen, this is JT from Denver. Two things. Pat, when you're in Denver, come by 303 Training Center for some jiu-jitsu classes. I would love to have you in my class. Ian, I can definitely show you how to eat in the suburbs around Denver. We got some crazy sick food out here. Anyway, the question, did you guys think Hades was as incredible as everybody else did?
So first off, the presumption that Ian wouldn't be into jiu-jitsu and I wouldn't want to eat food.
No, he's right.
Okay. I want to find some tasty food out there, Jonathan.
He's right. I don't want the graps. I want the snacks.
Oh, okay. With the graps?
I want the snacks, not the graps.
So Hades, Ian loves it. He's in love with the game.
Yeah, I think
for Game of the Year. Yeah,
I avoided the game for a long time, not because I thought it would be bad. I liked previous Supergiant games, but because just on the surface of it, I looked at it and I said, this is another roguelike, and that's a genre I love, but I don't need more right now. And people kept talking about it, and I downloaded it, and yes, I do think it's as good as everyone says it is. It's one of the rare times where I think the amount of hype and praise a game has got is spot on. Hades is absolutely worth playing.
I just like the fact that people, whenever it's something physical they want me to engage in, it's always like, oh, I'm doing you a favor. Then like, yeah, my arm gets dislocated, or I've had 3 people at conventions want to arm wrestle me.
Okay.
And I said this to one guy, the last guy who challenged me, I said, you never want to challenge someone in arm wrestling. You never challenge someone that you think you might lose. That's part of the reason why you want to challenge me. It's always someone that outweighs me like 100 pounds or, a big guy. There was an Army Ranger at Portland. You probably remember him because he was like a superhero. He was like 6'5", probably 260, chiseled. Hey, Pat, I'll arm wrestle you. I know I'm going to lose. Okay, I'll be a good guy, and I'll lose within a second. It's like, yes, you got me. You got me. There's no glory in that. Not that was a reason, but like he was probably proud that he was like Captain. He was like Captain America. You probably remember that guy. I remember him because he was like a fucking super soldier. I remember. Well, thank you for your service there. All right, who's next here?
Hey, this is Brandon and Zach from the Uncommon Gamer podcast. It's inspired from you guys. We're just wondering,
Uncommon podcast.
Do you ever run out of ideas or do you struggle getting ideas? And if you do, what are some ways you do to get around that? Like, how do you go out and find ideas for topics or things to talk about?
You get yourself a Twitter and you ask people what's going on?
Yes.
I mean, or
you put the responsibility on other people.
You shift the burden. You shift the burden. Or you just, you keep up with the news and, there's only been really, I want to say, a couple weeks ago was rough. I think
Sure.
that was, but we still got through it. There's only been like probably a handful of times where like, wow, we have little to talk about.
I do think it is something always comes up.
Yeah.
But yeah, reach to your audience. Don't be afraid to reach to your audience and ask for suggestions. It's tough. And the longer you do it, the harder it gets because you start to second guess whether or not you've talked about certain things before.
Sure, but everyone repeats.
So, right. Everyone repeats, and that's fine. You just... Yeah, if you don't know, ask. Because if they're asking, even if it is a repeat, it's something that someone wants to hear again.
And people forget.
Yeah.
Hey, Pat and Ian, this is Andrew, and my question is this. As gamers, we have all over the years traded in or sold other pieces of our collection to go towards new systems or other new games. Looking back on it now, what would be one of those that you automatically think of and you regret?
What do you regret selling or trading? I mean, I regret selling at the flea market at my grandma, selling my NES and games. And the G.I. Joes probably when I was like 13 or 14. I regret that.
I've actually got a fairly recent one. I got rid of my Wonder Swan stuff recently, a couple of years back when I needed the cash, and I didn't need the cash bad enough that I needed to get rid of it.
Could have pawned them to me. Could have got them back.
But yeah, I wish I hadn't gotten rid of my Wonder Swan stuff. I really do like my handhelds, and I don't think I will necessarily be getting rid of any more.
You never let me know that happened. I would have tried to save your Wonder Swan. Is that the definition of pawn? You buy it back at some point?
Yeah, I think that's
I wouldn't have charged you too much to buy that. So no, it's going up. It's gone up, Ian. Sorry, this one game's now worth $150. Sorry. Next here.
Hey guys, this is Jared from Arizona. Love the podcast. Here's a fun question.
Oh.
Someone gives you a brand new Neo Geo MVS 4-slot arcade cabinet. The 4 games in it are the only Neo Geo games you can ever play again. What are they?
All right, so
it's a fun one, Ian.
It is, and it's a tough one, and I will change my mind on this a billion times. But here's what I'm putting in there. I'm putting League Bowling in there. I'm putting in Neo Turf Masters. I'm putting in Samurai Showdown 2, and I'm putting in King of Fighters 98.
League Bowling. Was that one of the original ones?
Yes, it's a very, very simple game, and I fucking love it.
Am I confusing that with Capcom Bowling? I don't think I must have played that, but I remember the Capcom one, the bowling one. I will do Super Spy because I love that game. King of the Monsters 1 is better than 2. 2 kind of screws up some things that makes 1 good.
1 is the one that's more of a beat 'em up, right? And 2 is the one that pulls the beat 'em up stuff out of it.
The opposite. 2 puts beat 'em up stuff, and 1 is pure like fighting.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So King of the Monsters is my second one. I love Sengoku. I don't know why no one else likes Sengoku. I love Sengoku. And yeah, I'll do a Samurai Showdown. What is there? 5 of them that came out on there.
5 on there, yeah.
Whatever. Give me the first one. Give me the class. I love Samurai Showdown. If you give me a 5th game, I love Art of Fighting as well. I love that game.
Depending on the day, I might swap out League Bowling with
It's not a great game, but...
Windjammers.
Or the Rest in Peace World Heroes, since you got sucked up by everything else. I just love the fact that there was blatant rip-offs of Street Fighter characters in World Heroes. Like, I mean, blatant. Like Fatal Fury, World Heroes didn't care. Well, yeah, we'll do that. They pulled from everywhere from World Heroes. Next is where am I at here? Neo Geo.
Hey, this is Warren97, and this question is for Pat.
Oh.
I'm wondering if there is a price that you would consider selling your entire collection. Thanks for the channel, guys. Keep up the great work.
I mean, yes, I'm sure there is.
Yeah, so there would definitely be a price I would sell my entire collection for.
But what is that price? Yeah. We don't know.
I'd have to really sit down and think about it.
This is Phil.
Be a lot of money.
Wayne, New Jersey.
Wayne.
Time listener.
Hey, Wayne always had a second Saturday every month. They used to have the toy show in the Wayne Firehouse.
Just want to ask you guys a quick
Go
question.
there, my teens.
What would you guys think of a arcade 1-up virtual on machine with the twin sticks?
Huh.
And I guess you could throw the sequel on there as well with a name I can't really pronounce.
All right.
Anyways, guys, thanks so much.
I think that would actually be a great idea.
Couldn't do 2 players though, but it'd still be fun.
But you could do internet access. You could. I mean, they've already shown that they're going in that direction. The Jam Cab was that. I'd say, the Arcade 1-Up, the one thing I have liked is, like I've said, when they do the unique control schemes, because it makes those games cheaper. I can see that. That might be the best way to, honestly, because every time they do twin sticks, I think there was a Kickstarter for a set of twin sticks that was being made in Japan, manufactured, and they're like $400. I mean, at that point, just make a fucking throwaway cabinet and throw the twin sticks on there.
I'm looking for what a virtual on cabinet would go for. It can't be cheap because they're big.
No, they're very big.
Sit down. They had one or two in the boardwalk. They had one at unfortunately, the one that burnt down, the best fucking arcade left in New Jersey, Yestercades. They had one there, and they might have another one. And I remember when I got older, I really got into virtual on and really actually played it. Because when you're a kid, when you're like 8 or 9, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. When you're older, though,
that game was not around when you were 8 or 9.
When did it come out?
That game was like firmly in high school era.
Okay, when I was in high school, I didn't know what I was doing. But like 10 years later, I got the hang of it, and I got good at it, and I got far. I don't know if I beat it on a couple of bucks, or whatever, but I like the dual stick scheme. That
it's fun.
I almost want to get that.
Game.
That controller? Get the controller.
They're expensive.
Was that for what? Is that Saturn?
They did them for Saturn. They did them for Dreamcast, and I think they just did. What I was just saying is they did a special run for PS4 and PC, and they were like $400 a pop.
Gotcha.
Insane.
And also,
whoops.
Hey, Pat and Ian, it's Sean here from Australia, currently living in Germany. Listen to you guys every week. Love it. This is kind of what a real Australian accent sounds
yes.
like. Not like Daco, who is throwing it on pretty thick, I reckon.
You mean you're not doing some tubies in Wallenberg there, Sean?
A couple of questions. What would you recommend for someone starting out with a podcast to grow it? I have one myself with a couple of mates.
A lot of podcasters getting in touch the past few weeks here. Any advice? Make sure you like what you're talking about, and make sure you have chemistry. Always agreeing is not the best podcast. You want to have different perspectives.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you want like one out of
thinkers.
You want like one out of every 8 topics to go sideways.
Is that really what our percentage is? One out of every couple?
I don't
podcasts?
know. But that's just
no. We had one go sideways in a couple of years now.
No, but you definitely don't want everyone to be on the same page. Make sure you talk about topics that the other person isn't so keen to talk about for whatever reason. Pull something out of them. It makes it interesting.
Talk about Pokemon and have Pat squirm.
That's right.
And yeah, it's called the Play It Up Podcast. If anyone wants to check it out, woo! And
woo! You gotta have more confidence, Sean.
Also, what do you guys think of retro achievements? I've got that set up recently, and just wanted to see if you guys have done it and what you think of it.
So I looked this up. I believe it's in Retro Arch. They have this now.
Oh.
I believe.
Interesting.
So like I don't know how they integrate it, but yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to do and to think about. Why not do that? I guess, yeah, Retro Arch integrates with Retro Achievements to serve to provide trophies unlocking mechanism. So like, yeah, that's great. They can figure all this stuff out and integrate it with emulation.
Yeah, that's neat. I used to be less interested in like achievements and trophies, and the people who like go crazy on the like achievement or trophy hunting,
that's ridiculous.
It's a little much, but I do like the inclusion of them in games. And in some games I don't go for them, but there are other types of games where I think it's a lot more fun to go after that sort of stuff. So sure. Yeah, it's nice to see that option available.
A couple more here.
What do you guys make of the younger folk who have every right to their opinion, believing that NES games are too hard, too cryptic, too archaic to be worth their time? Is there anything that Nintendo can do to mitigate this? Is there anything that the community can do to mitigate this? Thank you.
Is it because they're too hard, or they don't like the graphic style? They think it's too simplistic. I don't know if they know enough about the games themselves to think that, oh, Castlevania is too hard, I don't want to play it. Because you only know that if you play it. I think it's just they're turned off by the look and think it's not appealing.
I think it's partially that, especially because you have lots of indie games that try to mimic the feel and difficulty of older games, and those get popular and those are played. And those use older art styles. They use pixel art style as well. But yeah, I think a part of it is just it's not appealing to them. It's not visually appealing. They didn't grow up with it, so there's no nostalgia aspect of it that pulls them in. And while it's kind of silly, I understand. You're just not going to be interested in something that does not appeal to you, no matter how much you try. And I do think a lot of it is visual, and that's fine. As long as the kids that don't want to play it or don't get excited about it, that's cool. Just understand that there's importance there. There's history there.
Sure.
It's important that they existed, and they're why you got to where you are. But I honestly don't care if they want to play them or not. I mean, you're fighting an uphill battle. It's like if a kid wants to play Fortnite, he's going to play Fortnite or do it. I mean, that's just the way it is. Understand their importance and move on. That's all I really ask.
Sure. Last one here from Mike.
Hi, Pat and Ian. It's Mike from Jersey.
Oh, another Jersey. Two for one.
The show. Apologies if this is kind of a provocative question.
Oh.
I was wondering if you had any thoughts about journalists such as Jason Schreier being hyper-focused on crunch in the game dev business, and CD Projekt Red in particular, and there being almost no coverage about GameStop's abhorrent behavior during this pandemic, putting low-wage workers at risk by remaining open during lockdowns, failing to provide PPEs, and incentivizing customers to congregate in-store to pre-order next-gen consoles to be shipped home without mentioning that stock would be extremely low. All seem like borderline criminal negligence to me, and that should have been covered by game journalists if they are truly interested in defending the disadvantage. Thanks a lot.
Hey, all right, Mike, very, very well thought out. We talked about the GameStop stuff last year, how ridiculous it was. Yeah, not having PPE, about remaining open when the state told you to close your freaking doors. This is two different questions to me. Someone like Jason Schreier, that's his bread and butter because that's what he has access to. So he has all these employees saying, "Oh, they did this and this." Like, this is now the guy's career. He has a book about it, and probably does other stuff. So like, can he probably go over the top? Maybe, but that's like I said, that's his bread and butter. That's what he's focused on.
Also, there's only so many people who can cover so many stories. And I'm not saying it's good that the GameStop stuff was ignored, but also covering crunch in the industry seems like an evolving and fresh topic. Whereas, even though it should be pointed out, I think it's always kind of been assumed that places like GameStop and large corporations and chains are generally not treating their employees particularly greatly. And I don't think anyone would have expected that to change during the pandemic.
Yeah, but it's interesting what he said about the pre-order stuff, about having people line up to get into your stores for something they can order online potentially.
It should have been covered more. I'm just saying I think that's maybe why people have glossed over it.
Yeah, that's that we don't know what harm could have been done to people with something like that. Because there's nothing else besides a game console where people were rushing into a store to pre-order last year. Besides a game console, people aren't doing that for iPhones last year. I don't think. So no, I don't know what to say. It should have been covered. I don't think I saw a story about it at all, and it should have been. But there's no. I guess maybe they realize people don't care about that as much. I think our listeners like our GameStop topics, but I don't know if Kotaku cares to go down that route because the crunch thing has gained more and more momentum, and so that's the hot sort of item right now in the industry, and so that's what they cover, for better or for worse.